Namasri Yatirajaya Vivekananda Suraye Satchit Sukha Swarupaya Swamine Tapaharine. So today we will discuss the 12th Sutra from the Sadhana Pada. In the previous Sutra, 11th Sutra, we saw that by dhyana you can reduce the impact of the kleshas. Kleshas are the root cause of the deposit of our karma, the latent deposit or whatever it is, karmashaya, the residue that remains, the karma that we do, which is colored by kleshas. If we just do karma without any attachment or detachment, without any attachment or strong likes, dislikes, any of the 5 kleshas, when it is combined with work, it produces a residue, which is known as karmashaya, the latent deposit of karma. But if we learn to work in a way such that there is no klesha attached to our karma, then slowly our karma, the effect of our karma goes away and then we become free. That is the idea. Klesha moolaha karmashayo, the 12th sutra says. So in the previous sutra we saw that by dhyana we can reduce the impact of the kleshas and stop our karmas producing results, good or bad, both good as well as bad, because good karma is necessary to counter the effects of bad karma, but after that even that has to be thrown away. That is what Ramakrishna explains to us when he says, take a thorn, remove the other thorn, but don't get bound, otherwise the other thorn will cause problems. So you have to throw away both. So also by dhyana is also a prakriya, it is part of the sadhana. So by dhyana what we actually do is reduce the impact of kleshas. Before we deal with the karmashaya which is already there lying hidden in potential form, before that we have to stop adding further karma. That is the first thing Patanjali encourages us. So dhyana is mainly to see that we don't add further karma to our karmashaya. Then it will be very difficult. It is like you have an attic full of dirt and you have to clean it someday or the other. Now we have closed it. Karmashaya is like a closed attic. It doesn't disturb us and we go on putting things without even looking how much of dirt or unnecessary things are there in the attic. When it gets full, when you go on adding without even looking into the old things that are lying there which need to be disposed, then the attic becomes difficult to manage. So the house may be clean, our minds may not tell us what all the karmashayas are there, residue, which is the result of klesha. So the first thing Patanjali tells in 11th Sutra is stop adding further items. If you want to clean the attic, that is, if we want to dispose of the karmashaya, the old karmas which are causing so much trouble or which will cause further trouble in some future time, then you have to first see that you don't add more. Then you start disposing of whatever things are not necessary for us. So karmashaya is like cleaning the karmashaya in the 12th sutra. He says, klesha moolaha karmashaya. Karmashaya is because of the kleshas. So having a little bit of control over the kleshas, what happens is the residue or the latent deposit of karma, that is karmashaya, with kleshas for its root cause, is to be experienced. Drushta, adrushta. Means this life is drushta. Adrushta means in the next life. Janma vedaniya. It has to be experienced. Vedaniya means to be experienced. To actually Vedana means to suffer. But we have to suffer. Even the good karma, we have to suffer. So Are you able to hear me? 1 minute. Is the voice clear now? Voice is not clear? Okay. Yeah. So, according to Patanjali, Klesha Mula Karmashaya means the Karmashaya that is the root cause of our, the root cause of the Karmashaya is the Klesha. So, we have to deal with it. So, according to him, what happens is, first you have to take care of the klesha so that you don't add further karma, and then you deal with the karma that is already stored in. So that is why every action, we have to remember, good or bad, produces two kinds of effects. Now he also says drushta adrushta means it may not be experienced in this life. Suppose we do some bad action or some good action, we may not get the result in this life, but we have to suffer that in some future life to come. In this life, drushta adrushta janma. Drushta janma means this life, adrushta janma means some other life, maybe after 4 or 5 lives. Vedaniyaha. So these all the karmashayas have to be exhausted. That is the essence of this sutra. So what is the nature of this? Let us first see what our actions do to us, how karmashayas are formed. It's worth recapitulating. So every action, good or bad, produces two kinds of effects. One is the individual effect in the form of sanskara. Now when I do an action, it produces an individual effect on me. It becomes my samskara. And in the mind of the doer, that is one who is doing that karma, this may be known as klesha or vasana simply. This samskara is definitely known to us because it creates a desire to do it again. Suppose you smoke once, you smoke twice, you smoke thrice. So in the mind, the samskaras are created. That is one kind of effect, but that is not all. There is another effect which is known as a cosmic effect. One is an individual effect which you know it troubles you because we know that if we perform certain actions with full of desire, say 10 times, 20 times, it becomes a habit with us, and then we struggle to get rid of that habit. So, but that is only one part of the effect of karma, which is done with klesha. With klesha as the force that converts your karma into a karmashaya, that is residue. One of the effects, only one of the effects is samskara. It forms a samskara which opens up the possibility of your doing that karma again. So you create a habit and then you become a slave of that habit. That is one effect. That is your individual effect, the personal effect, or it's an effect on which impacts your mind, and it is known as samskara or vasana. There is another effect which is known as cosmic effect. It has many names. It is also known as karmashaya. It is known as apurva, adrishta. Apurva means, adrishta means that which is not seen. Apparently, you don't have a samskara, but in future, suddenly you may feel the desire to smoke. Now maybe you smoked a cigarette, but then with your willpower you have given up smoking that cigarette. But say after 10 years or 20 years, suddenly you come in contact, and suddenly from somewhere the cosmic effect of the karmic residue, which is known as adrishta, may prompt you to smoke again. It is known as our karma, prarabdha karma, you can say, karmashaya. There are so many names, but in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra it is known as adrishta. Drushta, adrushta. Adrushta means that karma which is not apparent, which is not seen now. Adrushta. Drushta means that which is seen. Drushta janma in this life. Maybe it will fructify in the next life, who knows. So it is believed that this karmic residue determines the person's life in the other worlds after death and returns to the doer. It returns, it doesn't vanish. It is like in the cloud, you have this computing. In computers, there is a concept known as cloud. You may switch off the computer, but it is stored in the cloud. That is an excellent example actually. But when you switch on the computer, you can access all that from the cloud. So that is the idea here. It is like, it is a karmic residue which is residing in the cosmos somewhere. It's cosmic karma and returns to the doer. Suppose people may think, if I die, then the karma will definitely be destroyed. So what will remain? Nothing will remain. No, it is not true. This adrushta, this karmashaya remains in a subtle form, in the cosmic, in the subtle levels of the cosmic mind. And in the next birth, or maybe several other births, after several births, it comes back as karma phala. So you can't escape. So we have to get rid of the karmashaya. That is what Patanjali is hinting at. It's not enough not to create new karmas, but whatever karmashaya is there, with the help of dhyana, with the help of the mantra, you have to nullify the effects, so that even in a future life, they don't come and haunt you. If at all you have a future life. If you destroy all the karma, then you get nirvana, or you become one with the Purusha, you get moksha, or you get samadhi, as Patanjali says. You go nirbija samadhi, where there is no seed, no karmashaya left. That level one has, or kaivalya, it is also known as kaivalya. Kaivalya means where there is no rebirth, because everything has been destroyed. There is no karma phala for which we have to be born again. So this karmashaya, this residue, adrushta, determines our environment and experiences. Jati, ayu and bhoga, we discussed that. Jati means in which species will be born. Whether we'll be born in a rich family, poor family, good family, a family of yogis, whatever it is, it will be determined by our environment and our experience. Jati, ayu. Ayu is how much time we will get to work out our karma in the next birth, or how many births we will have. All these, and what are experiences we will have in the successive births, all this is because of this residue. So karmashaya is a very important topic. That is why Patanjali discusses it. We will discuss this in great detail later on in the other sutras. Here he is just telling us that this drishta or adrishta janma, you have to experience the karma phala or the karmashaya, which gives rise to karma phala, because it has its kleshas or give birth to these experiences. So now we come, what is meant by drishta, adrishta, janma vedaniya, producing experiences in this world, in the next worlds. Experiences, janma vedaniyaha. Vedaniyaha means experiencing, producing experiences. In this world, drishta, adrishta janma. Drishta janma, adrishta janma. The important point that you have to remember is that for karmashaya to get deposited in the first place, how did the karmashaya get deposited in the first place? The root cause, klesha, is necessary. If we get rid of the kleshas, that is why we discussed in so many classes, so many times, again and again. People may think, why is this topic being discussed so much? The pancha kleshas, I have repeated at least 50 times. Raga, dvesha, abhinivesha, avidya and asmita. Asmita and avidya. So from avidya comes the asmita, the sense of ego, and then from that you will find so many likes and dislikes, and also fear of death. So these 5 kleshas are always hanging around in our mind. They are in our mind. We are full of kleshas. As long as we are full of kleshas, every one of our karma done with either attachment or with a strong like or with a strong dislike. So it is always good to do Kriya Yoga without, or Karma Yoga without attachment. Why do we do without attachment? Actually, without attachment, doing any karma without attachment means doing without the impact of klesha. In our life, the kleshas should not play a big role. If they are still not, if we don't convert them into tanu avastha or reduce the impact of the kleshas, then we are in for suffering. Not only in this drushta janma, but in adrushta janma. So that is why the root cause has to be handled. That is, the kleshas, 5 kleshas have to be handled. Now, the 13th sutra says, Sati mule tad vipako jati ayur bhogaha. If the root cause or the kleshas, sati mule, is there, the fruition of that karmashaya is in the form of birth, jati, span of life, and experiences take place. So that we have discussed. So in the previous sutras, we saw that the karmashaya is deposited only if the kleshas are present. The present sutra states that the fruition of the karmashaya, that is the effects of the karmashaya into jati, ayu and bhoga, can also take place only if the kleshas are present. So in other words, both for the production and also for the fructification or the effect to be produced, kleshas are necessary. So now you understand how important it is. It causes karma and it also causes the karma residue to fructify. So if we destroy the kleshas, kleshas are like water. If you don't water the seed, the plants won't grow. Whether it is a dried seed or whether it's a burnt seed or a dried, if it is a burnt seed, there is no question of kleshas at all. But if it is a dried seed or it is a fresh seed or 1000-year-old seed, it doesn't matter. As long as the kleshas come, this karmashaya, this residue will give effects and further karma will be created. So, since the nature of karmashaya is unknown, we do not know what karmashaya, what baggage of karma we have come here. The only way to be free, Patanjali says, to be free from karma is to destroy these kleshas. If we just stop the source of our karma resulting in actions or resulting in further karma or further suffering, then we have to destroy these kleshas. So, here, through all this 11th, 12th and the previous sutras, Patanjali seems to be emphasizing the importance of a person not having strong likes, dislikes or fear. Swamiji in his Jnana Yoga, in his Raj Yoga, every time he is not tired of saying that one has to be fearless. That means one has to get rid of fear, that clinging to life, that which is the fear of death. So fear of death goes only if the smaller fears are handled properly. Anyway, since the nature of karmashaya is not known, when we are born, when any child is born, we do not know what karmas he has brought with him. There is no way of knowing. Only the Lord, one whose mind is one with the cosmic mind, the Avtara, knows what is our future, the past, present and future is known only by the Avatara or the Lord himself. Other than that, we have to see that this karmashaya, we observe that this karmashaya is unknown. Even if we have a good hint as to what that child will do, we may think that if a child is born in a family of musicians, he might become a musician. But how long will he live, whether he will be a successful musician, what all experiences he will have, that depends on his own karma. It doesn't come genetically. He may be born in a family of musicians, he may be getting the best training that can be possibly given to any child, but still, if he doesn't have that kind of samskaras, they will not fructify. This is an important point to remember, that genetics will not explain everything. Genetically, we may inherit certain karma, certain tendencies, but our karmas are our own. Our parents, neither our parents nor any people are responsible. They may provide the right atmosphere or the wrong atmosphere or the wrong environment for us and cause more problems, but the karma is our own, so we can't blame anybody. So, when kleshas are destroyed, so the only way to be free from karma is to destroy these kleshas, these five kleshas. When they are destroyed, no new deposit of karma will take place. So when the kleshas are destroyed, no new deposit of karma will take place. Whatever karma has already been deposited will not fructify. Is the voice bad? Hello? Yeah. So in the next sutra, we will see te lada paritapa falaha punya hetutvat. Means the 14th sutra says they means the jati, ayu and bhoga. The three things which I discussed, the species in which we will be born, the longevity and the bhoga, the experiences that we will have. All these things are caused by virtue and vice. So they say karmashaya is of two types. In this sutra, what it means is results in happiness and misery. They are caused by virtue and vice. Punya apunya hetu tvat. Because of good karma, good karma results in happiness. Bad karma results in misery. Why? Because of the punya and apunya. Punya apunya. Apunya means vice. So the jati, ayu and bhoga is determined, and then it will give us good experiences or bad experiences. So karmashaya is of two types, punya and papa or apunya, virtue and vice. Now jati, ayu and bhoga give rise to pleasure when they are caused by virtuous karmashaya. If a person is having lot of happiness and pleasure in his life, that is because he has a lot of virtuous karmashaya in his stock, in his store. In his karmashaya, there are so many good samskaras. That is why he seems to be enjoying. Though he has not done any good thing in this life, because of the lot of virtuous karmashaya which he has, he seems to be enjoying pleasure. And when he is suffering, when they give rise to suffering, when there is vicious karmashaya to be worked out. So Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, you have to remember, was composed in the early centuries of the Christian era. That is why he has made use of many oral and written traditions of Hindu as well as Buddhist yoga. So Buddhism was definitely older. Christianity is much after Buddhism. So he has used some of that terminology, papa, punya, the sin and other things. He was just a... Now the question arises, was Patanjali writing a new book or was he just codifying or compiling what was there previously? We know Kapila Muni or Sankhya was there, yoga was also there, but somebody decided to codify it and that was Patanjali. That is the idea. What is Patanjali's own distinct contribution to yoga? That we have to find. What did Patanjali contribute? If this yoga was ancient, if it was old, as Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, it's existing since time immemorial, when people started practicing, doing sadhana. So what is the greatest contribution of Patanjali? He's not telling something new. Yoga was there even before Patanjali. He has codified it or maybe he has compiled it, and it was older than because Buddhism uses these techniques. Buddhism, of course, is supposed to be older than Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. So, if Buddhism used these meditation techniques, that means this yoga, Patanjali's yoga, was quite ancient. But since it was written during the Christian era, that is the date that is ascribed to Patanjali's yoga, that this new contribution which Patanjali has made, the theory of kleshas and the practice of Kriya Yoga, that is Karma Yoga, as an independent discipline, are Patanjali's own modifications of that yoga doctrine. So he found that through Karma Yoga, we can somehow, he discovered these new sadhanas, that people are very busy, very active. So let them do karma, there is no harm. There is no need to leave everything and go into the forest. What about the people who are very active? If they work, if they do Kriya Yoga, if they do meditation now and then, whenever they get time, then they don't have to suffer. They don't have to give up doing karma. They can do the karma, but do it in such a way that the kleshas are not there. So this idea of doing karma without likes, dislikes and fear, and also of course ego and avidya, if these 5 kleshas are not there, Patanjali says, then you do as much karma as you want. It will not cause any problem. It will not cause jati suffering. It will not cause papa in your life. So kleshas, karmashaya and vasanas, or the vasanas means that those habits, solidified habits you can say, when we do certain things again and again, it becomes a habit. We think it has become natural with us. But we don't realize that it was because of regular practice. So also good habits can counter the bad habits. So that is why japa is just nothing but cultivating a habit of repeating a name, a holy name, again and again, again and again, so that repeating the holy name becomes a habit. And that dhyana or that japa, and then followed by dhyana. Dhyana is also repeated thinking of the same ishta or the same object continuously in the mind. What it does is, it creates a powerful enough habit or karmashaya which can counter the old karmashaya. That is the only way. And the habit also has to be formed. That's why they say you have to do the japa. Holy Mother said you may repeat thousands of times without any emotion. But if you do it with love, love means tremendous attraction towards the ishta. If we do with that, then it creates a greater karmashaya or a greater karma which can destroy the effects of the evil karma. That is how the mantra works. If you do it mechanically, yes, it will work, but it will take time. Whereas if they say if you do it with yearning, just as if you do any work or you smoke or you drink with lot of passion, if you do it in a detached way, perhaps it will not cause so much problem as much as if you do it with certain passion. So that is why sometimes they say you have to be dispassionate. You have to do things, but do it in a very calm and collected way. If you do anything passionately, that creates karma. If it is anything is done passionately, anything good is done passionately, it will give good karma. If anything bad is done, evil is done passionately, then that will give rise to the papa or the apunya. So papa and punya, these are the two types of karmas, and one can reduce the impact of papa by, that is the bad karma, by continuously doing good karma. And they found that the mantra, the japa and the meditation, dhyana, it not only removes the karma, but it removes the klesha also, which results in further karma. So in the early Vedic period also, even before Patanjali wrote or compiled these sutras, all the natural phenomena were believed to be governed by cosmic law or cosmic harmony known as rhythm. When we say Thakur's pranam mantra or the stotra, Om Reem Rutam Ritam Tomachalo Gunajit Gunedhyah, that is what Swami Vivekananda composed. This rhythm, Thakur, he is addressing Thakur as Ritam. He is not only Om, he is of the Bija, Reem, and he is also Ritam. Om Reem Ritam Tvamachalo, you are Achala. It's such a beautiful stotra. We do Khandana, but there is a equally powerful stotra that we do after Khandana before we sing Sarva Mangala. In all our prayers, in many of our centers, we also recite this Om Reem Ritam Tvamachalo Gunajit Gunedyaha, and it goes on and on. But in the first mantra itself, Sri Ramakrishna has been addressed as Om, who represents the Om. Also, he is the Reem, the Bija, and also the Ritam. Ritam means, in Vedas, Ritam means cosmic harmony. So, if we want to harmonize ourselves with the cosmos, then we have to remember or pray to a deity as Ritam. So, Sri Ramakrishna's mind, or Sri Ramakrishna as a personality, as an Ishta, is one in whom this cosmic harmony is there. He is one with the entire universe. That is what happens when you get Kaivalya, when you are not impacted by the kleshas. You are free from that. So, in the later Vedic period, this idea of Vedas, very old ancient Vedas, which are older than Buddhism and older than any other religion in the world, the earliest Rig Veda, they gave these ideas of Ritam, gave way to the idea of karma and the theory of rebirth. Now, the roots of the idea of law of karma, whether it is Buddhism, Jainism, which are very ancient, more ancient than Christianity and Islam, but Vedas, which are still older than Buddhism, from Vedas only Buddhism got this inspiration. These two doctrines, the law of karma and the theory of rebirth, Jati, Ayu and Bhoga, how the karmas are stored in the cosmic cloud. As you have cloud storage, all your karmas are stored in this Ritam. You can't get rid of it. It is there. Once you have deposited that, once the data is generated, it is stored. You may or may not access it, or you may access it afterwards, but it is still there. So, this is something like a cosmic cloud, or which is known as Ritam. So, the law of karma, we will discuss a little bit on how the law of karma works. So, the law of karma works on two principles based on these three sutras, that every action that we do produces, apart from its immediate result, like say for example, you feed a hungry man. What happens? It appeases his hunger. Whatever hunger is feeling, that is, you get rid of that. So, you feed a man, you do annadana, it will help a man to remove his hunger, say for 2 hours, 3 hours, 5 hours. After that, he will again feel hungry. Or you strike a man, the immediate result you can see. If you give food, immediately his prana is energized, he becomes strong. You don't have to see where the karmashaya has gone. Its reaction is immediate. So, every karma produces one result which is immediate. That is, feeding a hungry man results in his hunger being removed. So, everybody appreciates that. That's why when people ask us, Acha, I have done japa, what has happened to me? Oh, I want to see the results. I want to see it immediately. It is not as gross as appeasement of hunger. For example, annadana you do, you see the results. That is why people appreciate charity. They think this is the greatest gift that we can give, because they don't see the higher gifts that we can do. The vidya dana, the prana dana, if we analyze the gifts that we give, the lowest is annadana, because appeasement of hunger is you can do, but it lasts only for 5 hours. But if you teach a man how to work, or give him knowledge, it is known as vidya dana. We go a stage higher. We do something, it produces a better result, because you have given him a skill, we have taught him certain things, so he can earn his own money and feed himself for a very long time till that knowledge is useful to him. So, by doing annadana, you are actually doing a smaller charity or smaller karma compared to Vidyadana. Then we come to Pranadana. Now having a good health or having a good knowledge and a lot of money, but still a person, if he loses his health, then these things are of no use. That is why our Shastras say, if you don't save the prana, a rich man with all the property, with all the facilities to remove his hunger and all the good things of life he has got, at the same time he has lot of knowledge, he can earn as much money as he wants, but in spite of that his health is bad and his prana is about to go, then in that case the doctor who saves his life or any person who does anything to save a prana, pranadana, that is why some people donate for medical help. They want to save, because if a person's life is saved, then he can pursue the path of Vidya Dana, you can do, or you can do Annadana much later. But if he is not alive, then what's the use of all the money and all the property that he has? Everything will end with death. So that's why the immediate result, if we want to see, then feeding a hungry man results in appeasement of hunger. So every is the voice clear? Is the voice clear? Now is it okay? I don't know why it is changing so much. Maybe I'll have to use a direct mic in the future. The voice is not clear? Now? Is the voice clear now? Hello? Now it is okay. Okay, fine. Fine. I think I'll have to change the microphone. Anyway, we will just try to finish it. Now, the law of karma, as I told you, is based on two principles. Every action produces, apart from its immediate result, a delayed reaction. The first reaction is it produces an immediate result, that is, a hungry man satisfies his hunger. But there is a delayed reaction in the form of reward or punishment. This reward or punishment is not determined by the action, but the moral attitude of the person. Now, with what attitude have you done this Annadana? Have you done it with lot of ego and with lot of pride? Then you perhaps may not get the benefit of that. So it's not just the action that determines the karma, the reward or punishment. It is the moral attitude, that is the klesha, that with what attitude have you done? What is the moral attitude? So the law of karma implies that rebirth is inevitable. So it came to be believed in the Vedas that the soul was born again and again. See, it's such a logical and scientific theory. To reap the consequences of the actions done in this life, good and bad, have to create some kind of impact. And if you die before that, then the only reason or the only logic that can explain is that you have to take birth again. To the cause of rebirth is these desires, these karmas. The law of karma could be justified by extending its application to future births. That is why jati, ayu and bhoga is there. It must come about, may not be in the immediate birth, but some future birth. Thus the law of karma and the law of rebirth got united into one concept. When you say the law of karma, it implies that you have to accept the law of theory of rebirth. If rebirth is not there, then the karma, you do whatever bad karma you want, and then when you die, everything ends with death. If that was the case, then the people in Christianity and other religions, at least they put the fear of the eternal punishment or eternal heaven or eternal hell. That is just to put some kind of fear that if you do bad karma, then you will be doomed. So whether it is the theory of rebirth or the law of karma is the supreme the main idea, the cosmic rhythm in the Vedas, that gave rise to the mental attitude of the law of rebirth. So, what is the connecting factor between mental and physical worlds? Now you do a karma, but it's not what karma you do, but what is your mental attitude while doing karma, or what is the connection between the two? So when you deal with law, in law there is the judge also tries to determine what the motive was. Sometimes somebody may commit a crime accidentally. If the motive is not bad, then he gets a lesser punishment. Similarly, in our the theories, what is the connection between mental and physical worlds, the mental and physical karma? The mental attitude is very important, which gives rise to adrishta. The karma shaya depends on with what attitude did you do the karma. You might have done the same bad karma, two people do the same bad karma, but one has done accidentally, unintentionally. The other fellow has done it deliberately, intentionally. Then he will have to bear the consequences more. He will have to suffer more. That is the idea. So the adrishta, that is the unknown karma that is deposited, which is gives rise to future rebirths. It determines our species, jati. It determines how long we'll live, ayu, and it determines what experiences we will have in the next birth. So in this birth, there are certain karmas which prarabdha, which we can see the effects. Then you say, oh, it was this prarabdha. That means in some future past birth, or maybe in several births before, he has done something and he is suffering now, and you don't know what is the reason. Why do good people suffer? Many people ask this question. Why did Swami Vivekananda get all these diseases? If he was a yogi, he should have been healthy. It's all very narrow ideas. Because you see, there are so many reasons. The law of karma is so difficult. Many times they say, I mean, it is a fact, not only they say, Sri Ramakrishna took upon the bad karma of so many people. People don't see that. They have the capacity. So also Swamiji, he worked himself to death. If he had led a very comfortable life, just preaching and doing nothing, not exerting himself, then he could have lived longer, definitely. So as Holy Mother said, he practically bled to death. When the brahmachari asked him, he said, Swamiji worked so hard that he died young. So that doesn't mean that he was not a yogi. But people think just getting a long life, longevity, oh, he lived for 90 years, wonderful life. That is the main purpose of doing yoga. That is a wrong idea. Because we may extend to 100 years or even 120 years, but our old karma will catch up in this birth or that some other birth. The idea is to get moksha, whether you do it in 20 years, 32 years like Shankaracharya, or you do it in 40 years like Swami Vivekananda, or you live for 120 years and still be born, again to be born 5 times, 10 times, 20 times. We do not know. So this adrishta, the connection between our karma and the kleshas which give rise to karma, motive is very important. So the real nature of man, which is known as the Purusha or the Atman, is ever free. Then you may ask, why does it get bound? Compared to that life, that state of Kaivalya or Nirvana or Moksha, where man is pure, self-luminous and totally free, Nitya Mukta. Compared to that, man's present life is in a state of bondage. He is born by his karma and he dies because of his karma. His life is determined by his karma, how long he will live, whether he will be born as an animal, a male or female, what are the experiences that he'll jati karma, jati ayu and bhoga. Patanjali says it is because of this karma shaya only. So whatever you accumulate, as I gave that example of an attic, in the attic you have so many dirty things already. The first thing before you clean the attic is not to add more waste to that. You have to dispose of in some other place, and then slowly, day by day, you clean the attic, the storeroom, and then finally make it totally clean. But if you add more, then the difficulty becomes still more to clean it. That is the cause of bondage, is because of our residual karma. So Patanjali says, first reduce the karma, don't add more residual karma, then you deal with the karma which is already there, which produces your birth, which has given rise to this birth, so that you are not born again. But if we don't listen to this advice, Patanjali says, you will have to, all your karma will produce it will produce a direct effect. You give food to a hungry man, his hunger is satisfied. You see only that karma, but you don't see the karma of papa and punya that you have gained. If you have done it without pride, without any, in a very simple way, you have done some dana, anna dana, prana dana, vidya dana, or adhyatmik dana, whatever dana you have done, if you have done without the sense of ego, without the klesha, then it results in more and more punya. Otherwise, it may not have the desired effect. So, every action produces two kinds of effects: an individual effect, which is known as samskara, and a residual effect, which is unknown to us, adrushta, which has the power to bring about change in the macrocosm, in the cosmic mind. Somewhere it is saved, and then its effect will be felt either in this birth or next birth or after several births. So that is why Swami Vivekananda, when he was in Almora, he had a wonderful vision that the microcosm, that is our human body, and the macrocosm, the entire universe, they are very much closely connected. You can't say, I'll do karma and get away with it. And I have done so much of bad karma, nothing has happened. See, so many people say like that. I don't believe in all those things, karma and all, because I am getting away with lot of robberies and everything they do till they are caught. Even if they may not be caught in this life. And then people will doubt, what is this? He has been doing bad things throughout his life. But there is no escape, because that karma is gone. It is stored in the macrocosm. It's like all the data that you generate is stored in the cloud, whether you want it or not. So in the future birth, he will access it. He will have to reap the benefits or the ill effects, the bad effects of that karma. So that just shows that the microcosm and microcosm are closely connected. Now we will, if there is a question you can ask. I think there is a quality problem. Yeah, there is one question I'll answer. I'm very sorry. I'll have to change this. There is something wrong. It's a Bluetooth device, audio device. It was giving some problems earlier also. I'll have to resolve it in my next class. I'll try to have a direct mic, because it's much better. The voice quality is much better. So there's one question. Doesn't mental doing, as in having positive, peace-loving thoughts, even though there is no evidence of results, create punya? Yeah, definitely. See, mentally thinking, we think there is no karma created. In fact, karma, subtle karma is created. Don't think just by doing actions we are creating karma. That's why I said it is the attitude. Patanjali says it is the attitude which is more important. So if you have a positive attitude, or if you go on thinking positive thoughts, or go on just doing japa, people may think, oh, people respect people, or they say, oh, he's such a nice man, he's giving money, he's satisfying the anna dana, which I told you is the lowest dana, because it will satisfy the hunger of a beggar or somebody for 2-3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours. But suppose somebody is doing vidya dana, which helps him to earn more money, he is doing a better karma. Then what about the other danas, prana dana? Even if you give money to somebody, or if you give him education and his health fails, then the money and everything will be waste. So his health If you help him or cure him or give him pranadana, that is the highest third stage, then we say adhyatmic dana. What is adhyatmic dana? That is what you have asked in the question. Adhyatmic dana means always having continuous good thoughts. When you do japa, you think of the higher aspect of reality. That is adhyatmic dana. You always do japa, you do prayers, you think higher thoughts. They are more effective than the grosser gifts that you give. They will definitely have some effect, some punya is created by that, depending on your attitude, with what attitude you are giving. But if unselfishly one gives adhyatmic dana, which according to Swamiji is the highest gift one can give, it will solve the problems of the people forever. Hunger will, giving food will solve the problems for 5 hours, 6 hours. Again he will become hungry. Then you teach him how to earn food, earn money. You are doing a better job because that will save him. He may get jobs, and for a long time he can earn his own food. But if you save his life, then even with all the food and all the facilities, he may not enjoy if he dies. So your saving life is still higher. But save more than even pranadana. Swamiji very clearly says. That is why in the training he said you start with feeding people, the brahmacharis. Then when they do lot of physical seva, then they do education, teaching people certain arts in schools, colleges. That is another. Then we have hospitals where most of the monks work hard, or even the doctors who are doing it as a sadhana, partly as a sadhana. They may be doing as a job, but still the motive is important. If they are dedicated, if they are not just there for salary, but if they are working hard, doing their utmost to save lives, then they also get the good karma, the higher karma. And then according to somebody adhyatmic dana, that is the highest gift. So all the karmas are true, and thinking as is apparent. You don't have to do karma. Just praying for the welfare of all. That is why when we start our sadhana, we have to pray. Let all beings be happy. Why do we do that? Will people become happy? Some people say, what is the use of just sending these thought waves? But it creates an impact, not only within us, but outside of us. It's the mind that is more important. As you think, so you become. Actions are a result of thoughts. So changing the thoughts changes the actions, or at least it gives better kleshas. I mean, the kleshas are reduced so that your actions become more meaningful. So I hope uh, next time we will change the audio system. I'll take your leave now. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.